Public School. Heather Goyek, Vice President of Prospect and Early Admin Engagement for Teach for America. So I present to you our class 2016, the foundation builders of Latino Public Radio, heroes of education. Each graduate is receiving a copy of Felix Ticlo art, Dominican artist, resident right here in the state of Rhode Island. They're all saying this is very nice. You know, they're beautiful, beautiful prints from Felix Ticlo. So, in keeping with long-standing tradition, the valedictorian and salutatorian for the class of 2016 will deliver some remarks. Traditionally, the salutatorian has the honor of giving the salutatory speech, and the valedictorian closes with the farewell speech. Our honorees have decided to part from tradition and switch roles. So first, our valedictorian. A graduate of the State College of New York at Brockport and the State University of New York at Buffalo, as well as participant in the Radcliffe Institute for Advanced Study, Dr. Carullo was named the 9th president of Rhode Island College in 2008. Prior to that, she served as interim vice president for academic affairs at RIC, overseeing the management of academic activities and programs for the college, while maintaining her duties as deputy commissioner and chief academic officer at the Rhode Island Office of Higher Education. Dr. Carullo's second grade teacher made a huge year-long commitment to her that shaped her into the highly successful, heartfelt leader she is today. While Mrs. Schultz may not have necessarily thought she was teaching listening skills, Dr. Carullo now listens for the collective good as a result. During her career, she has created numerous opportunities for Rhode Island students that have great promise but that don't have the means to afford post-secondary education. She has made a difference because she believes it is the right thing to do. Dr. Carullo.
Foundation Builders. As you've heard from Pablo, we're not a traditional class, so we're being untraditional in our speaking order. Usually the valedictorian speaks last. However, Megan Hughes and I decided I would go first. And it's not because I'm older, well, maybe a little bit older. But the real reason I'm speaking first is because I'm going to talk about the contributions to Latino education that have already been made by our group. And Megan then will speak later about the future in the context of CCRI. Our group of foundation builders has in common that we all get high on seeing promising students succeed. We've all worked for many years to support access, but Latino students have had a special place in our hearts as they've grown in numbers and dazzled us with their talents. Now, some of us, like Keith Oliveira, former Providence School Board President, or Jose Gonzalez, who's now featured, you may have noticed, on the Rhode Island Latino History Project on television, grew up immersed in the Hispanic culture. But others of us had to work a little bit harder. I studied Spanish a few years back at CCRI. My husband, Ralph, who was almost always supportive, quipped, "Now let me understand this, Nancy. You're getting older, and sometimes you can't quite muster up an English word that you want to use. But now you think you can learn Spanish? Really?" Undaunted, I persisted in the course, made many friends in the Spanish community, and learned what my study partner Julio described as Spanglish. When he used, for example, the participle liquendo to describe with a dramatic gesture the leaking roof in his apartment. I also tried inviting a Colombian immigrant I met at church to live in our home for a year, thinking I could practice my Spanish with him. However, our house guest Carlos explained that he needed to practice his English so he could get a job and move out of our home. Well, needless to say, I won't be switching to Spanish to deliver the remainder of my remarks. Despite my less than illustrious conquering of the Spanish language, I'm pleased to report that at RIC, we have had great success in laying one of the foundational bricks in the education of Latino students. I call the brick persistence. The percentage of undergraduate Latino students for fall 2015 at RIC was 16%. The most recent 6-year graduation rate for Latinos is 46%, which is 20 percentage points higher than it was 5 years ago. For the past, thank you. And I say thank you on behalf of the faculty at Rhode Island College, not me, I give them credit. For the past 2 years, Latinos at RIC have had graduation rates that are a point or two higher than their white counterparts also. What has RIC been doing right? Well, first of all, I credit the talents of our bright students, like Genesis, my guest this evening. Genesis, could you wave at people so they can see how pretty you are over there? Now, when our fantastic governor, Governor Raimondo, spoke earlier, she talked about the Promise Scholarship. And I had suggested that Genesis be the face of the Promise Scholarship, and I think the governor would agree with me that she was a very personable and articulate face for that initiative. And with academic preparation from David Espinosa, David, could you give us a wave too? He's the chair of history at Rhode Island College. Genesis took second place in a nationally televised Hispanic quiz show. How terrific is that? Even talented students, though, face challenges. RIC has a retention initiative called Learning for Life. Within that initiative is a special pilot called Latino Success that's supported by the Annenberg Institute and the Providence Children and Youth Cabinet. 100% of the 16 students who signed on to year 2 of Latino Success in the fall returned for the spring semester. Of them, only 2 dropped out this semester, and that was because one had a baby and the other had some financial issues. We will continue to work with those students and allow them to finish through Finish Strong, an initiative that works with students who dropped out to complete their degrees. The project provides the students with navigators who help them find resources within the college, as well as links to resources and community providers. So, for example, Goodwill Industries refurbished computers and gave them to the students. Finally, RIC joined HACU, the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities, where I participated in their annual conference this past year. Now, because I'm speaking on behalf of a whole group, you saw all of us up here, I asked other foundation builders for a description of a brick that they helped mortar into place in the Foundation for Rhode Island Hispanic Education. And here are a few of them. Julie Nora's International Charter School has established a solid dual language school. Julie made the bilingual brick. It's so good for Hispanic education. And then there's Todd Flaherty and the Children's Crusade. This year, he and his partners in higher education gave out over $3 million in cash and donated scholarships to 900 former Crusaders. The Crusade's ongoing rate for students, last year's seniors, going to college has risen to an all-time high of 75%, even though the students come from the poorest school districts in the state. Now, I can personally testify to Todd's passion for providing resources to students. Last winter, he stopped me in the parking lot of the Rhode Island Foundation to plead for more scholarships. Todd, do you remember that? I pointed out that I was on my way to a meeting. It was snowing. I was cold. Todd smiled brightly and said, well, we could continue the discussion in his car with the heater on. Todd used lots of pressure in molding his financial brick for the foundation. Of course, we also need a pipeline brick. Excuse me, Jose Gonzalez has been working on that brick with the help of others such as Ana Cana Morales at the Latino Policy Institute. Jose shared with me that he has had the pleasure of teaching at Rick in a Foundations of Education course, and he noticed an increased enrollment of students from urban families. He hopes these students will become teachers and give back to their communities, thereby creating a pipeline. The brick that's mortared right next to Jose's is the Community Partnership brick. This brick is my personal favorite. So many in our group identify partnerships as the most important foundational brick. Tomas Ramirez, who is Assistant Superintendent of Providence Public Schools, worked with others on building strong community partnerships to enhance the school's instructional and social-emotional delivery support systems. Heather Tao-Yip also spoke with me about the importance of partnerships to Teach for America, where they have a special Latino initiative described on their website. Their stats are just fantastic. 15%, or 600, of the 4,100 incoming Teach for America members identified this year as Latino. Just think of all those mentors. Rick has also collaborated with TFA and designed a master's program just for them. Sue Lucy, former Providence superintendent, also spoke of partnerships. Examples she gave included the Providence Children and Youth Cabinet, as well as partnerships with myriad individual organizations, including PASA, City Year, Inspiring Minds, College Crusade, Youth Build, and Upward Bound. And I will end my remarks with a bit about my favorite partnership, the Central Falls Rick Innovation Lab. Yes, we have some folks there. The lab arose from a conversation with Fran Gallo, then superintendent of Central Falls, who came to see me about how we might work together. Fran initiated the conversation. I added a few ideas of my own. But Fran and I would both agree that the success of the Innovation Lab is the result of the ongoing leadership and enthusiasm of the faculty and administrators that blew life into the now 3-year-old and going strong partnership. Every level of RIC and CF work together, not just education faculty and students, but also social work faculty and students, professional studies, and any other area where collaboration might be beneficial. Whole families are involved, with dinners on campus and courses for the parents called Parents College. Yes, thank you. Parents College is especially good. As Fran noted, we're blurring the lines between school and college, including the efforts to personalize learning and encourage students to take college courses at the same time as they're in high school. RIC has given college credit to high school students for over 40 years through its EEP program. But now, under one of our fabulous governor's new initiatives, college courses are being offered free of charge to students through many of our local colleges and universities to high school partners. As partners, we are all equals working with others such as business and state government toward the same goal of serving students. With the new president-elect of Rhode Island College, Frank Sanchez, the son of Mexican immigrants, I expect that what I've been telling you is good at RIC will be even better. So there are our bricks: persistence, bilingual, financial, and community partnerships that we've crafted as a base for the work of Latino education. I also speak for our group when I say that we've been honored to help and hope to be called upon to do so again in the future. I will not say goodbye on behalf of our group, but just hasta luego.
Thank you, Dr. Carollo. We've had many of these programs as guests on Latino Public Radio in the morning show, Nuestra Salud, and we're very, very proud. The students are just so excited about the opportunities that Rhode Island College has given them. And we have a bright future ahead of us. So now our salutatorian, Dr. Megan Hughes, appointed in 2016 as president of the Community College of Rhode Island, is the former executive director of Gear Up Rhode Island. The program provides training for low-income young adults, including skill development, college credits, and corporate internships lasting a year. Dr. Hughes assumed the directorship of the nonprofit in 2009 and focused on bringing private and public sector leaders together to train young people and give them access to highly sought-out employment opportunities. She is a dynamic leader committed to social change through advocacy and education, committed to engaging diverse communities and individuals to empower young adults to reach their potential through professional careers and higher education. Dr. Hughes has 30 years of continuous affiliation with organizations that advance social justice, education, public policy, and public service, and endeavors to inspire others to be their best. She graduated magna cum laude from Yale and holds a PhD from New York University. Our salutatorian, Dr. Megan Hughes.
It occurred to me, I think I was tied for third in my high school class. It's a thrill to be salutatorian for the first time in my life. So good evening, and thank you everyone for this wonderful honor. It's a real privilege to be included among this group of esteemed leaders tonight. Thank you to Latino Public Radio and the selection committee for choosing education as the focus of this year's Community Excellence Awards Gala, and for selecting us as your honorees. I have enormous admiration for the work of LPR, for Reynaldo Almonte and Dr. Pablo Rodriguez, and I'm incredibly honored to be honored by you. What you do to advance social justice in the state sets an example for me and for others to follow, and I thank you for that. I want to additionally thank President Carriolo. When I interviewed as a finalist for the presidency, I met with Nancy, and we discussed the Latino Student Success Pilot, a new Learning for Life program cohort at RIC, composed of recent Latino graduates of Providence Public Schools. I was so inspired by Nancy, and I really want to thank you for your example and your thoughtful mentoring that you've shown to me. Congratulations to my fellow Foundation Builders honorees, and also to those named Future Builders tonight: Tim Hebert, Jonathan Acosta, and the Warren Albert School of Medicine at Brown University. So I've begun my tenure at the community college during a time of renewed national focus on the role that community colleges must play in making higher education attainable for all who come through our doors. And here's what we know. Rhode Island's population is 14% Latino. That number places us near the top nationally, ranking us 12th per capita. And Latinos represent the fastest growing minority population in the Ocean State. We also know that nationally, the Latino population is predicted to grow by 114% by 2060, and the total national minority population is projected to become the majority by 2043. CCRI intends to be at the center of serving the growing Latino population in Rhode Island. We want to be well prepared for the ever-growing number of Latino students coming through our doors, and we are excited about this opportunity. The community college, ours, intends to significantly improve how we serve our students. We know that we must improve graduation rates for all students, but this is painfully true for Latino students. The 2014 Latino College Completion Report from Excelencia in Education showed that only 15% of Latino adults 25 and older in Rhode Island have earned an associate degree or higher, compared to 39% of all adults. That's lower than the national average, and it's not good enough for Rhode Island. We must do better to increase the number of Latino students who persist, complete, and transfer. We also know that CCRI has work to do in increasing diverse representation among faculty, staff, and administration. One of my top priorities in my first 100 days has been to hire the college's first full-time director of affirmative action, equal opportunity, diversity, inclusion, and Title IX coordinator. I want to send a clear message to the CCRI community, and it's this: we must increase diversity within our teams, and we are investing in this work. We are in the final stages of the search process, and the new director will report directly to me. And I'm delighted to announce publicly for the first time tonight that we have hired Isabel de Arujo Rivera as Associate Vice President for Institutional Advancement and College Relations. She is the first ever Latina in leadership at CCRI. Isabel is a lifelong Rhode Islander and was educated in our public schools. I am absolutely thrilled we will be working together. All of the honorees tonight are working to create opportunities for students. We support them in every move forward. We encourage them to set goals they are not sure they can achieve, and then watch proudly as they surpass them. We all understand how resilient and tenacious our students must be to achieve success. They are resourceful, creative problem solvers. And tonight we have 3 of them from CCRI. We have Maria, Orlany, and William. So thank you so much for leading the way. I have a lot to learn to figure out what to do better in the college, so I know how to reach you. I have your cell phones and I'm going to find you. We also all know in this room how important education is